Welcome everyone to Satisfactory Early Access. Yes, that's right. Today is the day. Now, I did get to play this game for a few hours back on Alpha Test Weekend very recently, but I didn't get to spend near as much time as I would have liked in the game, so I'm basically coming at this fresh. I have made it a point and a goal not to search out and watch any of the excellent gameplay footage that is available for this game. I wanted to learn just as we see it on camera. So as I'm recording, I'm learning a lot of this for the very first time. I'm going to make a ton of mistakes, and that is half the fun. So before we jump into the game and go ahead and get started, I want to show you guys the options for those of you who are wondering what sort of options we have for video, audio, and so on. We'll start with the video resolution. You can see I'm playing this on a 1080p monitor with full screen enabled. VSync, however, is off. All of the graphics by default went to Ultra, which is perfectly fine with me. I'm using a GeForce 1070 graphics card, in case you're wondering. And from the Alpha Test Weekend, I had no issues with the graphics, no stutters, no anything like that. So hopefully that will continue on into the early access. Moving over into the audio options, we've got all of these options are at 100% by default, and I've left them there except for the music. For the purposes of uploading to YouTube, I didn't want to get into any copyright issues, so I've turned off the music. But other than that, everything is at 100. Moving on to gameplay, send gameplay data. This is for the developers so that they can get an idea of how we're playing the game and any issues that we might be running into. It's not specific to me, so it's not gathering personal data. Language, of course, will be English. I'm not turning on the arachnophobia mode. I might wish that I would have done that later, but for right now, we're going to leave that off. No head bobbing, as that really gets on my nerves and sometimes makes me sick in certain games. And then network quality defaults to medium, so we're going to leave it at just that. Now, the fact that we have network quality as an option here would lead you to believe that there's multiplayer, and that is exactly correct. Every session that you create in this game, whether it's private or public, will be an online session. So keep that in mind as you're going forward. You and your friends can join and play in the same world. I believe the maximum number of players right now that they officially support is about 4 on a game world, but you're allowed, there's no lock on that. You're allowed to invite more players than that. Just be aware that you might run into issues. Now, of course, the last option that we didn't get a chance to go into just yet is controls, and for now I have not messed with any of this. Again, we'll be learning on the fly, and from time to time I might have to come in here and take a look and see what exactly something does. So we're going to go ahead and click on new game. We have some different options as far as where we want to start. Grass fields is the only option that was available in on the Alpha Test Weekend. Then you've got the Rocky Desert, which it says is a barren, medium-sized area bordering the sea, which is mostly flat. That's great. It gives us plenty of room to build. And it's nicely balanced on both distance and building opportunities, but has very limited biomass. Now, in the grass fields, you're going to have tons and tons of biomass, but you have fairly large distances between your resources. And then finally, we go to the northern forest, a small but lush mountainous area surrounded by varied biomes, making building harder, but biomass a common resource. All right, so they're going to give us our starting fuel in abundance, but we're going to have to deal with a lot of mountainous terrain. Now, for right now, I'm just going to start out on the grass fields. That's what I'm most familiar with, and until I get really good in the game, I think this is where I'm going to stay for the time being, but I certainly have plans to do additional playthroughs using some of these additional areas. All right, so we're going to click on grass fields, and we're going to do this. We're just simply going to call this YouTube. And let's start the game. You can see it says it's going to start an online session. So now, let's see what's next. So we've just spawned into the world itself. I actually skipped over the introductory cinematic where we fall from the sky in our drop pod. Now it is time to do the first thing we're required to do, which is to dismantle this. We're going to press F, hold down the left mouse button, and we have our hub part. So that drop pod will turn into our starting HUD. or excuse me, hub. All right, so let's go ahead and grab some of this. Of course, we've got our assistant who's talking to us, and I'm not spending a whole lot of time listening to her. I'm instead getting that very coveted biomass here at the beginning. So she's going to want us to use our zapper. So we'll go ahead and put that in our hand. Okay, we're going to skip over that. And we've also gotten some berries, some fruit off of one of these trees. This will be useful for healing because there are several bad guys around here. And right now we don't have much in the way of defense from them other than this little zapper. So we're going to make the best use of it, but from time to time we'll definitely want to heal. Alright, so again, all the biomass, which is basically leaves, and we'll see some wood on the ground from time to time. As of right now, there is no way that I know of, unless it's part of the progression tree. There's no way to chop down these trees, so we're able to get only what the game allows us to pick up. And to my experience so far, it hasn't really been an issue. All right, let's pick up a few more leaves, and then we'll get busy doing what they want us to do, which is to scan for some iron. I'm going to go ahead and press C, and that'll send out the signal, and looks like we've got one very close nearby, and then another one not too far away from that one. As we turn around in other directions, you can see we got one over in that area. There's some of the bad guys we'll have to deal with right there, but I think we're going to go in this direction. And if my estimation is correct, we should end up in the same basic spot. Look at that. That's an interesting looking little plant there. For a second, I thought it was an animal that was opening and closing its mouth. All right, so our instructions are now gone. All right, let's scan once more so we can see exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so it's right up ahead. All right, we should have plenty of biomass for quite some time. Of course, we'll be converting this over. We could burn simply the leaves, but it'll be much better if we convert this over to fuel. Much more efficient in doing just exactly that. All right, so we're coming up on our first iron location. And sure enough, there's a bad guy. Looks like just one. So it shouldn't be too bad. Hopefully we can get up to him and take care of this without incurring too much damage. There we go. That wasn't too bad. It looks like in our bottom left-hand corner you can see our health, and we are still full. So that is great news. So now we've arrived at our first couple of iron nodes. So these two are iron nodes. We'll work our way over, and I'm going to hold down the E button, and for right now we're going to be doing this manually. We're going to manually mine a little bit of iron ore, and that'll get us started. We'll put down our hub, and we'll basically have our base of operations right in this area. Now, this is indeed the same area where we were at on the test weekend. And right now what we're doing is getting all of the iron ore that is above ground. But in the future we'll actually be using this entire area, both of these, in order to do some automated mining. Okay, and then up on this level, this is a pretty good size flat terrain area. So I'm looking forward to doing a lot of building up here. But now I'm going to make tons and tons and tons of mistakes and do things highly inefficiently, I'm sure, as we get started with this. But again, that is part of the fun for me, is just doing things in very different ways, and some ways that don't necessarily work out all the time. Okay, so now we need to put down our hub, and I think I'm going to put this down right over here in the corner, similar to what I did previously. So far, so good. Everything is looking similar to what I saw in the alpha test weekend, which is good for me because I didn't get very much done. All right, let's press the Q key. We want to put down our hub, and let's see. I need this piece to be on the left, and I think That should be pretty good. Now, I have no idea how this placement's going to go. Let's see how we did. All right, we got it pretty close to the edge over here. It looks like we're going to have a little bit of company here with this one tree. Shouldn't be too big of a problem. All right, let's head to our craft bench. And we've got some ingots that we need to craft. So we're going to take this raw iron ore and convert it over into ingots. And for right now, we don't have any machines to do that for us. So I'm simply going to hold down the craft button, and we're going to craft these manually. And as I do that, you can see over in the left-hand side of this particular window that this increases the number of iron plates or iron rods that we're able to craft. And of course, we'll be needing both of those as time goes on. But for right now, our goal is primarily going to be to try to upgrade our hub and get access to some more technology, some more blueprints, so that we can get this stuff as automated as we possibly can, as quickly as we possibly can. All right, so that takes care of all of our ingots. We can now make 45 plates or 90 rods. In order to figure out what we need, we really need to come over to our hub, tier 0. Let's look and see what hub upgrade number 1 will give us. We're going to select this milestone, and you can see the cost here is 10 iron rods. All right, that shouldn't be any problem at all. Let's take care of that. Once again, we're going to craft these manually for now. There we go. And I'm going to hold down shift, click on the rods, and we're ready to do our first upgrade. There you go. You can see things are going to start to change. We're going to start to get more framework. Here momentarily, we're actually going to have a room in this area. But now we have our very first look at the biomass burner. This is where we're going to put the leaves. And then in the future, as we convert this over, we're going to start to put some converted fuel in there that would be much more efficient for us. Now we're going to come into our storage. Let's go ahead and get rid of a lot of this stuff. You can see we've got tons of biomass right now. There's some wood that we can turn into fuel. We're going to keep the nuts on us for now. And we're going to get rid of the rest of this. The pale berry can be used simply the same as what the nuts are used for. They actually restore one full health bar as opposed to the half that we get with the nuts. So not bad at all. Let's see what we need in order to upgrade and go to number 2. You can see number 2 is going to give us a couple more inventory slots, but most importantly, it's going to give us the constructor, and we can get power poles and access to concrete and things of that nature. So let's go ahead and select that. We got several things that we need. 10 plates and 10 rods to start with. Let's go ahead and make those. So 10 plates and 10 rods. So you can see we're going to progress through some of these beginning levels rather quickly here in our first video, and then as we continue on with the series, we'll get into some more intricate things and a lot more ways of automating our production. Now next up, we're going to need some wire, and wire, we're going to need copper for that. So for copper, we're going to need to once again bring up our scanner, and this time we're going to mouse over to the left and do copper ore. Now, I know from the alpha test weekend that we actually have some just up ahead there, right on top of the hill, where there's going to be at least one more bad guy for us to deal with. Hopefully it goes as well as it did this first time. All right, there he is. Let's sneak up on him. Let's try to get him. And yeah, we didn't even let him get it one attack in, so that turned out very nice. And I believe that's the only one in this immediate area. So now we're going to do some manual mining of copper, and that will use up the above ground portion of the copper ore. And you can see it shows as pure copper ore. It looks like 43 of those. That should be perfectly fine. And once again, we'll always be collecting biomass as we move around. Get that pale berry as well. All right, so we need 50 wire, I believe. Yes, 50 wire. So now we need to turn this copper ore into ingots. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 ore equals 1 ingot. That's certainly going to save us some time. All right, we're down to 15 more of these. And also on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see just how much wire we can craft with this. 129, naturally, we don't need all of that right now. So we're going to make about what we need. There we go, 51. Should be perfectly fine. Let's drop this into the hub. And we're ready to upgrade. There we go. So now let's back off for just a moment. We've got new parts, we've got player upgrades, we've got everything going on here. Now you can see this is going to be our first opportunity now that we can build some power poles to actually use some sort of automation. But we're not quite ready to do that just yet. Here's the beginnings of our room. This will end up being a sleeping area. There will be other things. There will be a research station over in this area, a restroom over there, all sorts of stuff going on. Computer screens will end up being over in this area. So we've got still several more upgrades to do, but you can see that things are certainly taking shape, and it looks like we got just enough room over here to do what we need to do. Okay, let's actually go into the build menu real quick, and now you can begin to see some of the options for automation that we have. We got the constructor, which is going to enable us to take our materials such as our iron plates or rods and actually turn them into other products. And then our smelter will actually take the raw ore and turn it into the ingots. We've got a craft bench, which is what we're currently standing in front of, and then we're going to have an equipment workshop, which we'll use here very shortly. So what we need for our equipment workshop is we need 6 iron plates and 6 iron rods, which you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of this particular menu. So we're going to come into here, and it looks like we should have plenty to make this happen. All right, I'm going to come back out and equipment workshop. And where do we want to put this? Now, I have no idea how many buildings I'm going to need to place as time goes on in this game, so we're just going to place them as best we can. How about right there? That should be pretty good. And I don't believe we have a way of getting rid of this stone, at least not right now anyway. Look at this guy down here. Is he floating? He appears to be floating. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but yeah, he's kind of floating. Looks like we got another bad guy down here. He's really mad at us. Unfortunately for him, right now he can't really get to us, but we'll be coming down there to you very shortly. All right, next up in our equipment workshop, what we're really interested in right now is the portable miner. That's what we want. And what do we need to get there? We need 4 iron plates. We're going to need some more wire, and then we're going to need some cable. So 4 iron plates, 4 cable. Hopefully I can remember that in the short amount of time it takes me to get over here. All right, 4 iron plates. So I'm going to go ahead and craft up about 12 of those because we're going to make a few different miners. Wire, I believe we needed 8, but I could easily be wrong on that. So we're going to make plenty more of that. And then cable, I believe we needed... Oof, that is certainly not what I was hoping for there. All right, let's go ahead and convert. How many cable? We got 9 cable. I believe we're okay. Okay, I believe that should be enough to get us where we want to be here at the start. So let's see, portable miners. Yes, you can see we can make 3. So I'm going to do just that. And those 3 will be 2 for the iron nodes that we have just in front of us, and then one third one for the copper. So let's go ahead and place these guys down. This will be our first form of automation. Not complete automation, but our very first opportunity. There we go. So we'll drop that guy down on there. And then for our other node, we're going to drop this guy down. And thankfully, we don't need to add any outside source of energy. They go about doing their business. So now we're going to head up here. Hopefully no bad guys along the way because I do not have my zapper currently in my hand. For some reason, I just have to get the biomass every time I see it. It's hard, very hard for me to just leave it as I go by, because I know we're going to need a lot of it as time goes on. Okay, let's get ready to drop down our final miner. And this guy will be mining, of course, copper. And that's really going to open us up for smelting, constructing. I'm really interested in getting our storage unlocked. So we're going to be working on that coming up next. That'll probably be in our next video. We'll get to that. Then, of course, we've got our power situation. We've got power poles and power lines, which will connect the power poles to each other and also to the different production modules. But so far, so good. All right, this guy's been going for a few minutes, and he has done great. We'll go ahead and take the 26 that he's already gotten. And we'll head back over to our main hub area. All right, and we're going to take a quick look and see what we need for hub upgrade 3. You can see here's where we're going to get the conveyor belts opened up to us. We got ramps, walls, and of course another way of creating biomass for fuel. Let's go ahead and select that. And you can see now we're going to start to need larger quantities of things. 75 iron plates. We're going to need 2 reinforced iron plates and 10 concrete. Now, concrete's something we haven't gotten into yet. That's actually a new resource to us, our third resource. And for that, we're going to need to head right down here below. So now we have 3 options when we come into scan. We got our iron, our copper, and now limestone. And as I do this for limestone, you can see we have a limestone deposit right here next to us. Looks to be another one not too far away. Another one right over there. And that looks to be it as far as what's nearby. Of course, we know there's a bad guy down here waiting on us. So let's not keep him waiting any longer. Let's get down here, and where is he at? I know he's here somewhere. I don't see him or hear him. Well, I have no idea. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and try to get some of this limestone. If he attacks us, I guess we'll just be attacked. But we're going to take this limestone, and that's what we're going to turn into concrete. And we definitely want concrete because we're going to need it for foundations and a lot of building. So we're certainly going to want to get an automated process to get all the limestone we can handle. And right now, pretty much all I can think about is the fact that we've got to be close to getting attacked. That guy's down here somewhere. I just don't know when he's going to attack us. And hopefully he won't do too terribly much damage before we're able to take care of him. So nothing like a little stress to get us going. All right, 30 limestone, and so far, of course, I see some bad guys over there. Oh, there he is right there. So is he just being nice, or is he hung? Is he stuck? You appear to be stuck. Yep, he was stuck. And boy, did that work out well for us. And of course, you can see we are just below where we need to be. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a direct route back up there, at least not right now anyway. So we'll go sort of a roundabout way back up and head back over to our main hub. And on our way, this will give us an opportunity because we need tons and tons of iron. Now, each of these manual miners will hold up to 100 in their inventory, so we've gotten here just in time to empty them out before they actually stop until we come and empty them. Now, the copper, I'm not so much worried about it. We don't need near as much copper at this particular point. So what we're going to do to finish off today's video is we're going to start crafting some iron plates. We're going to see how close to 75 we can get. All right, so ingots, first things first, we're going to go ahead and transfer all of these ingots into the raw iron into the iron ingots. And you can also see on the left-hand side just how many plates that will make available for us. So it looks like we're going to get pretty close to that 75 we need, with some left over for some other items as well. So we're at 34 iron plates available right now, and we're just going to keep going. For right now, of course, we're having to do this manually, but we are not very far at all from setting up our first stages of automation. All right, 55 iron plates. And I also need to remember to go over to the storage and get rid of some of these excess items, because our inventory fills up very quickly, and we certainly will need to do something to take care of that. All right, there we go. We've made it to 75. So now let's go ahead and craft all of that iron into plates, and that'll give us at least the first part of our equation for our next upgrade. All right, there we go. A few more to take care of, and sure enough, 75 iron plates. There we go, 75 of 75. So now we'll need to deal with some cable, some concrete, and reinforced iron plates. Actually, the concrete, yes, we can make 10. You can see the ratio is 3 to 1. It takes 3 limestone to make 1 concrete. So that won't take long at all. We'll take care of that. Let's see, where did you go, concrete? There you are. So 10 out of 10 there. So that's going to do it for today. We'll end the video here, but when we come back next time, we'll be looking to finish up hub upgrade number 3 and set up our very first machinery to begin the automation process. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we will continue our gameplay of Satisfactory.